Well, we have made it to the third Sunday in Advent, and as I said last week, this is really my favorite season of the church year. I think that the joy and anticipation in this season is really the most exciting time that we have as we're looking forward to Christmas, as we're preparing in our homes, putting up our Christmas trees and our decorations, and as we come and hear the words of the prophets. And this week we'll be hearing Isaiah, who will be talking about the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, and that peace is being preached throughout all of the world. And that foreshadows then the gospel lesson where we have the Annunciation, where the angel Gabriel comes to Mary and at first really overwhelms and intimidates her, but she, through that conversation, has such an amazing response with her statement, "Here I am, the handmaiden of the Lord," something that we can all aspire to as we seek to embody God's love in our way and in our lives. For our first hymn, we'll be singing one of Advent's best carols. We'll be singing O Come, Emmanuel. And this tune is maybe a little bit different than you might think. A lot of folks think that this is some ancient Gregorian chant. Actually, the melody probably doesn't date much back more than 150 years or so. It's very much written in the style of plain song, and it's meant to imitate that, but it's actually not that ancient of a tune. Now, the text, however, is a little bit more traditional or has deeper roots. It is a very loosely based metrical version of the O Antiphons. The O Antiphons dated from probably about the 8th century, and they're a collection of antiphons or chants that would have been sung on the days leading up to Christmas. And they're called the O Antiphons because each of them starts with the word O. The other thing that's interesting about them is if you line those 7 antiphons up, the word that comes after O, if you line those up, those words make an acrostic backwards. So once you reach Christmas Eve, that's the time that you actually sing O Emmanuel, not on verse 1 as in our hymn. And so it starts the other way, and if you read it backwards, you get the words arrow cross, which is Latin for I come or I am coming. So a really interesting and very dense kind of poetic device at play there. And you can see some of that arrow cross acrostic in our hymnal, because we have things like O come thou wisdom, which would have been sapiencia, so the S of arrow cross, and going throughout all those letters. The opening voluntary will sort of set the stage for all of that, because Unjin will be playing a really beautiful setting of this melody by the Arizona-based composer Pamela Decker. Pamela Decker is a really fine organist herself and has written some extremely fascinating organ works. This is a little bit more accessible. Some of her music is a little bit hard to approach. It's fairly thorny and adventurous and avant-garde. This is a gentler piece, and it really has a way to convey the beauty of this melody. At the end of the service, we'll also have a hymn that maybe has a little bit of misconceptions about it as well. We'll be singing Joy to the World. And there are a couple of things here. We, of course, think of this as kind of a classic Christmas hymn. It's interesting to know that before the hymnal 1982, and really before the 70s, the text of this hymn, Joy to the World, was not associated with Christmas at all. And if you look back at the 1940 hymnal, the Episcopal hymnal that predates our current hymnal, it was in the general hymns in the section about just general hymns about Jesus Christ. And that Wesley did not intend this to be a Christmas text. It really has much more to do with the Psalms and with the prophets. And so it really kind of fits in more with the Advent themes. Musically, we also see the citation that it's Lowell Mason's arrangement of something from Handel. That is also a little bit deceptive, and the Handel antecedents are really very unclear. So we have some very familiar hymns, but some hymns that maybe we have a little bit of misconceptions about. Like with O Come, Emmanuel, the closing voluntary will be a setting of that tune, Joy to the World, by that same composer, Pamela Decker. So I hope that you'll pay attention to that as well. We will get a taste of Handel, though. The choir will be singing one of the choruses from Messiah at the offertory. We have more beautiful hymns and prayers and anthems in store for you. So we hope that you will come as we prepare for the coming of the Lord.